Okay, today we will be talking about integumentary system, no? So, if you talk about integumentary system, it is the covering of our body. Okay, so we talk about covering of our body. It's like a coat that we wear forever, no? Okay, so if you describe or what is the characteristic of the integumentary system, of course, it is waterproof. Okay, so why is it waterproof? Because it is made up of keratin, and that is it makes it doesn't leak, no. It is very tough and it doesn't leak, so water cannot go inside, okay, or cannot penetrate the skin, okay. Stretchable, okay, so that is one characteristic of our integumentary. Washable, so we take a bath and still it's waterproof, no. Okay. Invisibly repairs small cuts, rips, and burns. So this is a covering that can repair itself, okay? And that is one of the most very important characteristic of this covering of the body. That's why this is a very good protection from bacteria, okay? And guaranteed to last a lifetime. So if you're dead, your skin are still present, okay, but later on it will deteriorate, okay, so it lasts a lifetime. So if you talk about integumentary system, it is about the skin and its derivative, or what we call appendages. So what are the appendages? We have the sweat glands. So if you look at in this illustration, these are the sweat glands, the oil glands, this one, no, and then the hair, and then we have the nails also. So nails are part of the integumentary system, no. So if you talk about integumentary system, it is the skin and its derivatives or appendages, which are the sweat glands, oil glands, hair, and nails. Okay, what are the function of our integumentary system? First is to protect deeper tissues from mechanical damage. Okay, if imagine if you don't have skin, what will happen to you? If you experience bumps or blows, no? So what will happen to you? Oh, it will damage you immediately, no? So it is a physical barrier that contains keratin. So this keratin, this substance keratin, which is protein, no, makes the skin very tough. Okay. Do you believe that your skin can carry your whole body? If you watch some Indian culture, no, they put hook, meat hook on their skin, and they hang themselves, and they can carry their body. That's how tough the skin is because of this substance, no, keratin. Okay. Fat cells also, which is usually its function, no, is to protect us from blows, no. So it is a cushion blows, parang unan, no, that will protect our body from blows. And they have also pressure and pain receptors. Okay, so that will alert the nervous system for possible damage. Example of this is when you are sitting for a long period of time. Later on, you will feel pain, no? Because there is pressure there that is being exerted on that area, on your buttocks. Then you will feel pain and you will stand up. So this one will alert your nervous system that there will be a possible damage on your buttocks if you will not stand up. So that is one of the important function of this integumentary, no? Because they have this pressure and pain receptors. Another one, they will protect us from chemical damage because it has relatively an impermeable keratinized cells. Okay, so because the epidermis of the skin contains this cell, no, they produce keratin. Okay, that makes it impermeable or waterproof. no, which and also contains pain receptors, which alerts nervous system to for possible damage. Okay, so prevent or protect us from bacterial damage. Okay, if you examine your skin is unbroken surface. So any breakage on your skin, you are very risk of having infection. That's why the skin is unbroken, no? And it has acid mantle, no? Acid mantle meaning it's very acidic. So the skin acidic secretion inhibits microbes to grow, no? So they cannot grow in the skin, the bacteria. They can only cause infection if it is broken. Okay? And there are presence of also phagocytes that ingest foreign substances and pathogens, preventing them from penetrating into deeper body tissues. Okay. Did you remember the neutrophils? That if there is a damage in the skin, they will go immediately on the site. Okay. And that is called chemotaxis in it. So they act as phagocytes. Okay, so it also protect us from ultraviolet radiation. Okay, so the skin is very important to protect our body from sunlight, which emits UV light. No, so this UV light can cause damage. So how? Because of the presence of melanin. Actually, the melanin is produced by our melanocyte that serves as umbrella for our body. So, melanin serves as umbrella to protect us from the UV light or UV damage. Okay? So, it also protect us from thermal damage. Okay? Thermal damage. Okay, we have the heat and cold pain receptors. Okay? That will alarm our nervous system that something is going on. For example, if you are uh, going to hold a very hot coffee, no? So when you hold it, the pain, heat and pain receptors, okay, is being stimulated and send signal to your brain, and your brain will go to your effector organ and stop you from holding it because it could damage you, no? That's the example of this, no? Thermal damage. So they have nerve receptors called pain receptors, heat, that would protect us. Okay? Uh, Desiccation or drying out, dehydration. No? So, contains water-resistant glycolipid and keratin. Okay? So, this one will protect us from becoming drying out. So, water cannot go outside. Okay? It will be regulated only if it will go outside through our sweat glands. No? Okay, so another function is it aids in the body heat loss and heat retention as the nervous system, no? So controlled by the nervous systems. Especially if you are talking about heat, no? It is controlled by our hypothalamus. Hypo hypo oh, hypothalamus, no? So it is the hypothalamus that is our heat, our temperature regulating center, no? So what he will do is to activate sweat glands, no? And allowing the blood to flush into the skin capillary for the heat loss, no? Okay, beds, so that the heat can radiate from the skin surface. Okay, so that the heat will be lost. But if you are going to retain the heat, it's what the hypothalamus is doing is not allowing the blood to flush into the skin capillary beds. Okay? Remember, if the blood will go there, the heat will go there. Okay? And the heat will come out from the skin surface, losing our heat. Okay? So, in reverse, the hypothalamus will not allow blood to flush into the capillary beds so that heat will be retained in the body. Okay, another function is it aids in excretion of urea and uric acid. Okay, so the skin also acts as a mini excretory system. So skin also is a mini excretory system that can excrete urea and uric acid. Remember that these substances are being excreted by our kidney, no? So even our skin do that one. So it is called a mini excretory system contained in the respiration, perspiration sa pawis natin, no? Sweat produced by the sweat gland. Okay, so our skin is also removing this one through our sweat gland. Okay, so they also synthesize vitamin D. So I always told you that vitamin D is sleeping under our skin in the adipose tissue, no? So adipose. So how are they going to synthesize vitamin D? So these are modified cholesterol molecules, no? They are one of the fat-soluble vitamins that is being stored under the skin. So in order to develop them or convert them into vitamin D, okay, you have to expose yourself to sunlight. So presence of sunlight or UV light, the vitamin D will be activated, and this vitamin D work as a hormone, just like parathyroid hormone, no, to get all the calcium that is present in our digestive tract and put it in the blood and put it in the bone. Okay, so skin structure. So there are two major skin structure. We have the epidermis and dermis. So epidermis and dermis. If you look at the structure here, the epidermis is only this one, no? This one. Okay. And this is the dermis. The whole of this one is the dermis. Okay. So the dermis is thicker than the epidermis. The epidermis is the superficial part of the skin structure, and they are made up of stratified, meaning many layers, no? Many layers of squamous, meaning flat epithelium. So many flat cells epithelium, stratified. Okay, so stratified are layers, no? So many layers. So it is also cornified and keratinized. This is the most important characteristic of this epidermis. So the epidermis is the one being keratinized, not the dermis, no? So keratinized. So it's made up of keratin that makes it very tough. Okay? Hardened by keratin, meaning keratinized, to prevent water loss. So that is the most important function of this keratin in the skin, no? To prevent water loss. They will become waterproof. Vascular, if you say means absent of blood vessel. So there's no blood vessel that is flowing to our epidermis, no? Most cells are keratinocytes. So you can find the keratinocytes in the epidermis that produces the keratin. Okay? It's the one who produces the keratin, the keratinocytes. That is very essential to make us waterproof and make the skin uh, tough and prevent water loss and to prevent us from drying out. No? So epidermis contains this keratinocyte that produces keratin that makes the skin tough and makes the skin waterproof and prevent water loss. So dermis, okay, so dermis are made up of dense connective tissue. This is the difference between the two, no? This one is epithelium, okay, stratified squamous. This is dense connective tissue. Okay, so if you look at the dermis is thicker than the epidermis. Okay? Okay, another structure which is not already a part of the skin, no? is the subcutaneous tissue. This is hypodermis, meaning below, no? Deep to the dermis. Not technically part of the skin. Okay? This one serves as to anchor the skin to underlying organs. Okay, so it will anchor the skin to underlying organs like the skeletal muscle, no? And composed mostly of adipose tissue. So if you look at the adipose tissue, the yellow one here. Okay, this one. Just like a bed, no? This yellow one is the adipose tissue. So we call this one subcutaneous tissue. In our nursing part, no, some of the drugs are being administered in subcutaneous, meaning if you inject the drug, okay, you inject the drug until it reaches the subcutaneous. After the subcutaneous will be muscle, no? So there's a certain angle in which you are going to inject the syringe so that it would only hit the subcutaneous. Okay, so there's a special angle of the syringe, no? You will learn that in your skills lab later on in your second year when you will talk about pharmacology, how to inject subcutaneously. Okay, so there are drugs that are being administered on that area to become more effective. Okay, so alam natin, no? So we know that there is epidermis, dermis, and subcutaneous, which is not actually a part of the skin. We study this one because we need to know that some drugs are being administered in the subcutaneous, no? Just like the insulin, they are given subcutaneously so that they will effect, okay, rapidly or more efficient. And also we have the vaccine, the measles, no? So we are going to administer it subcutaneously. Okay, let's go to the epidermis. Let's talk about the epidermis. We say that it is stratified squamous, so it has many layers, no? So if we talk about the layers, we go to the innermost layer first, stratum basale. Basale means base, no? It's the base. So if you look at the stratum basale, here is the stratum basale. Okay. Here. Okay, so cells are actively dividing stem cells. So from here, there are many cells which is called stem cells, the origin of the cell, no? And they are actively dividing. So if they ask you what part of the epidermis or layer of the epidermis where cells are actively dividing, okay, so here, no? And so when they divide, most of the cell go upward. Some of the cell stays, no? And they will divide and divide, okay? But most of the cell go upward, upward, upward. While they are going upward, they are dying. They are given with keratin of the keratinocytes, okay? And they will become hard and tough until they reaches the stratum corneum. So here in the stratum corneum, all cells here are dead. You see, cells are dead, okay? And filled with keratin and glycolipids in extracellular space. So they become tough, they become waterproof because of the keratin. Okay? So deepest layer of the epidermis lies next to dermis. There is a wavy border with the dermis that anchors the two together, no? If you look at this one, this one. Okay, so there is a dermis there. If this is the epidermis, so there is a corrugated boundary, no? So this is now the dermis. This is the epi. Okay, this is the epi, and this is the dermis. Okay, so this is corrugated. That is their boundary. Okay, so it says their wavy borderline with the dermis anchors the two together. So this one is the one anchoring them, no? Daughter cells are pushed upward to become more superficial layer. So once they divide, the mother stem cell, the daughter cell go up. Okay? We have stratum spinosum. Okay, so here, cells contain thick bundles of intermediate filaments made up of prekeratin. Okay, they are made up of prekeratin and stratum granulosum. Okay, so here, stratum granulosum cells are flattened. They will now become flattened if you look at here and keratinized. And organs are deteriorating cytoplasm full of granules. The cytoplasm is deteriorating already, or they are dying already, no? And this structure is not always present in all parts of the skin, no? Lucidum. So, formed from the dead cells of deeper strata, so the dead cells here, okay, occurs only in thick, hairless skin of the palms of the hands and soles of the feet. So, the palms of the hands and the soles of the feet has this extra layer, stratum lucidum. So, if they ask you what is the only layer that could be found on thick, hairless skin of the palms and of the hands and the soles of the feet is the stratum lucidum. Okay, the stratum corneum, the outermost layer of the epidermis, no? So, if you look at here, okay, this one, all cells here are already dead, no? Shingle-like dead cells are filled with keratin, okay, protective protein that prevents water loss from the skin. So this one, no, okay, that one. So for the melanin, no, the melanin is the umbrella of our skin. Actually, the melanocytes are staying here below, okay, at the boundary of the dermis and epidermis, no, and they are supplying melanin to the cells, okay, until they become the stratum corneum. Okay, to summarize the layers of the epidermis, we have this one, no, is stratum basale, which is the innermost, then spinosum, granulosum, lucidum, which is not present at all parts of the skin. Okay, they are only present in the thick, hairless skin only. And then we have the stratum corneum. Okay, so in the skin, no, one of the most talked about is the pigment in the skin. Okay, so the pigment is melanin. It's called melanin. Okay, produced by the melanocytes, which is found mostly in the stratum basale, no? So they live in the stratum basale, these melanocytes. So before they go up, when they are going up in the stratum corneum, no? So these cells are being supplied with melanin by the melanocytes. Okay? What are the different colors of this melanin? So we have yellow to brown to black. Okay. If you look at the rays, no, human rays. Okay, yellow rays are mostly on the uh, Chinese side, no, Chinese, Koreans, Japanese, Vietnamese. They are considered yellow rays. So the pigment that their skin produce is yellow. Okay, for the brown race, of course, the Filipino or the Southeast Asian, Filipino, Indonesian, Malaysian. Okay, so we belong to brown, no? So the melanin that we produce is brown. Of course, for the black, okay, for the black, they produce black. So mostly in the African nations, no, their melanin is black. Okay, so the amount of melanin produced depends upon the genetics, okay, and exposure to sunlight. Okay, that is why when you are being exposed to sunlight, your melanocytes will produce more melanin because the purpose of this melanin is to protect us from UV light, no? So when you are being exposed, the melanin is being stimulated to produce more melanin to protect you from the UV light. Okay, so let's summarize. Melanin is the skin pigment produced by the melanocytes, mostly found in the stratum basale. Okay, and there are different colors of the skin pigment from yellow, brown to black, and also we have white, no, for the white people. No? We have also red for the red people, the red race. So it depends on the genetic, no. So the amount of melanin produced depends on the genetics and exposure to sunlight. So the more melanin you have, the more you are protected. So this one serves as the umbrella of our skin. Okay? So next is the dermis. This is now the dermis. Okay. So dermis, okay, there are two layers again of the dermis. Papillary layer, okay. So the first layer is papillary layer, the upper dermal region. If you look at the corrugation, no, so this is the epidermis, this is the boundary. So this is the papillary layer. Yan. And then the reticular layer. Okay, so projection called dermal papillae contains some capillary loops. So there are blood vessels here, no, that supplies nutrients also to the stratum basale. Okay, other others house pain receptors and touch receptors. Okay, pain receptors and touch receptors. Okay, the other one is the reticular layer, no? Deepest skin layer. So if they ask you, what is the deepest skin layer? The reticular layer. To be specific, no? The reticular layer. So it contains blood vessel, sweat and oil glands, and deep pressure receptor. Okay, reticular layer. So the blood vessels, sweat, and oil glands are located here, and also the deep pressure receptors are located here in the reticular layer. So overall dermis structure. So it is made up of collagen and elastic fiber. That is why it is elastic, no? And it made up of collagen. If you say collagen, it is tough, no? And also collagens are white in color. Sometimes if your epidermis is taken out, you can see white color there, no? Located throughout the dermis. Collagen fibers give the skin its toughness. Okay, just like the keratin, the epidermis becomes tough because of keratin. Here in the dermis, what makes it tough is the collagen fiber. Okay? Elastic fiber give the skin elasticity, rubbery, no? And the blood vessels play a role in the body temperature regulation. So a while ago, when the hypothalamus, no, stimulates the uh, blood vessel to move the blood into the skin surface to make the body temperature hot. If they want to lose the heat, no. So if the body wants to maintain the heat in the body, the hypothalamus will make the blood go out from the skin to the body. Okay, so epidermis. This is the epidermis, no? This is the boundary. This is the papillary dermis and the reticular layer. Okay. So, normal skin color determinants. There are three pigment contribute to the skin color, no? One is the melanin, depending on the genetics. Another one is carotene, which we take in from our food. Another one is the hemoglobin, because the hemoglobin contains iron, no? and iron are red, the more hemoglobin, the more red you are. Okay. So, for the melanin, okay, yellow, brown, or black pigments on your skin, no? Skin exposure to sunlight stimulates melanocyte to produce more melanin pigment, resulting in tanning of the skin. That's why when you expose yourself from sunlight, you become more darker, no? Because the skin is producing more melanin to protect you from the UV light. Okay? So, accumulates in the cytoplasm. So, if you look at the cytoplasm, no? Inside, in a membrane-bound granules called melanosome. Okay, inside the cytoplasm, there is melanosome. Okay? Move to the ends of the melanocytes, a spidery arm. So this melanocyte has a spidery arm that goes to the cells, no? So taken up by nearby keratinocyte forms a pigment umbrella over the superficial or sunny side of their nucleus and shield their genetic material. So this is what the melanocytes do, no? They produce the melanin and give it to the keratinocytes while creating this keratin and put it on the cell, no? On what part of the cell? It says here, superficial or sunny side of their nucleus. That's why they are actually the umbrella, no? So that they will not lose their genetic DNA. So this is a very good protection from damaging effects of UV radiation in sunlight. So always remember that the melanin is the skin pigment that protects us from the UV light. Okay? Carotene, another skin pigment, no? Or pigments that contribute to the skin color. Keratin, carotene. Carotene. Orange yellow pigment from some vegetable. Okay? The amount of carotene deposit in the stratum corneum and subcutaneous tissue. So on both on corneum, the upper part and the subcutaneous tissue. Carotene is an orange-yellow pigment plentiful in carrots and other orange, deep yellow, or leafy green vegetable. Okay, so that would be your color, no? Orange, yellow. Hemoglobin. Okay, so the red coloring from blood cells in dermal capillaries. Remember that hemoglobin contains iron, and iron is color red. That's why the blood is red, no? The more blood on the area, the more red the area is, no? Oxygen content determines the extent of red coloring. Okay, so if you have iron, the more oxygen it will bind to the iron, and the more reddish your color is. That's why the oxygen content determines the extent of the red coloring. Okay, the more oxygen, the reddish you are. Okay, so if you lack hemoglobin, you become pale. Okay, so alteration in skin color. So redness is called erythema due to embarrassment. Sometimes when you are embarrassed, you becomes red, no? Inflammation. So during inflammation, the RBC will go to the area and make it red, no? Hypertension. Okay, fever. That's why if you are having fever, okay, the body wants to release your heat in the body, no? So you become red because the blood rush to the skin or allergy. Pallor means pale, blanching due to emotional stress, such as fear. Nagbasag ka kung nada ka ron niya. Anemia, you lose blood, no? And low blood pressure. Impaired blood flow to an area. So if blood flow do not go to your area, you will be pale or there will be pallor. Jaundice, this is yellowish discoloration of the skin, sometimes caused by the liver disorder, no? Especially if you have gallstones, you become yellowish, no? And if you have the hepatitis, no? So liver cirrhosis, because of the bilirubin that will go to your skin and you will become yellow. Okay, bruises, hematomas, no? So if you have bruises, blood will form on that area and it's called hematoma. Yung tinatawag nilang pasa.